was able to operate at a higher level, and she was able to put the university on an auto cruise. Unlike when you bring a professional politician who does a lot of give and take, and this can affect the universities negatively. And these are some of the reasons why our calendar is not stable. Then you also need to have a vision and mission for each university that is modernized and futuristic in nature. A university without the proper vision and without a mission cannot be a modern university. And that leads me to the next one, which is the strategic plan. Every decent university that is going to be a 21st century university needs to have a strategic plan that details out the goals, the milestones, the activities, as well as the resources to achieve whatever they plan to achieve. Many of the universities in Nigeria don't have decent strategic plan. And where they have, you find successive vice chancellors jettisoning the strategic plans and pursuing some other things. And this is not the way to go. Strategic plan should be like a given for any vice chancellor that is coming into office. It's either you are doing one in your tenure, because most strategic plans are for 5 years. You are doing one, or you can also inherit one, maybe 2 years to the end of your tenure or something for the next incoming vice chancellor. Now, to the governance. Now, just as I said earlier on, we have serious challenge with the governance of our universities. And instead of being a solution, some of them are part of the problems. Because when you have a governing council where the members are also listening or cooperating with the various unions to destabilize the system, simply because they don't like the vice chancellor for whatever reason, this does not go well for our university system. The second level of governance we need to talk about here is the principal officers. If our vice chancellor is the major driver and is the link between the council as well as the management team, ably supported by the deputy vice chancellors, by the boss, by the registrar, by the university librarian, and the bossa. These principal officers are supposed to be alive to their responsibilities. The moment the principal officers are not operating in unison, then that university cannot make the required progress. And what happens? You find some principal officers who are in office before the vice chancellor comes in. And in the process, they have what is called, I want to use to describe this, because I'm not saying this to I have to be careful the way I put this. I want to say that the vice chancellor and the principal officer must always be on the same page in the interest of the university. Was the moment they start working across purposes or they start forming cliques within the principal officers, is going to negatively affect the university, and it's not going to help the university to achieve its set objectives. The next level of principal officers I'm going to discuss about is the management team. This management team consists of the heads of departments, the deans, the heads of departments, and the directors. The deans are more or less coordinators of heads of departments. It's the head of departments that are actually the direct managers, the teaching staff, teaching and non-teaching staffs at the departmental level. And a lot depends on them in terms of achieving the vision and mission of a university, because they are the first line level of managers within any university system, HODs and directors. Because of limited time, I won't be able to go into much details on that. The staff, one thing that I believe any 21st century university needs to do is to make sure that the vision, mission, and the core values of the university percolate the council members to the students and staff of any university. Everybody must be aware of what the core values of that university is. And in doing that, a lot of advocacy is required. A lot of what I can call participatory approach in developing the strategic plan should also come to play. Then there are a number of stakeholders that are very, very critical to a modern university. This includes the alumni, the host communities, the parents and guardians, as well as the religious leaders, because these are people who should also be carried along in developing a university, a modern university. The membership of faculty is so critical because in this 21st century, you cannot have an analog faculty member and expect him to operate in the digital environment. Therefore, it is important to make sure that and this starts with ordinary emails. Most people find it difficult to use their university email address. They want to either do Gmail or Yahoo or whatever. So it is important for many of us to actually ensure that it is the university email address, and it has a way of helping the webometric ranking of the university as well. The curriculum and content. Many of our course contents and curricula are obsolete, and they are not alive to the 21st century. We need to work on that to make sure that some of because knowledge is dynamic. If I left the university about 40 years ago, and what I was taught then is what I teach students now, I'm not preparing them for the 21st century. I'm training them for the 20th century, and they can never compete in the marketplace. So it's important for our content to reflect contemporary issues as well as address problems, solutions. Then the delivery mode. This is where COVID-19 has really shown us that we are not up to speed at all. And the registrar of the University of Ibadan has done good justice to that. How we need to deliver lectures now virtually and online. Of course, I remember that my good friend Junior Oshun, Labode Popola, had a matriculation online, and I congratulated him. That day when I watched it on telly, I said, well, man, you are doing well. Because this is what's happening elsewhere. Graduations have been done in the United States of America online. Exams have been written, everything is going, and that's the new normal. The sooner other universities start adopting the Union Ocean model in terms of matriculation, convocation, and other activities, even inaugural lectures can be delivered online. So we are now be adjusting to the new normal. So that is also very important. In terms of our infrastructure, yes, we have big challenge with power. We need to think out of the box on how to solve some of these challenges. We can do solar. We can do solar. We can do wind. We can do even hydro. So there are so many options that are available to us in this part of the world that can make us bring our infrastructure up to speed. The same thing with roads. The same thing with ICT. ICT is expensive, but I will come to covering the cost of some of this infrastructure later in this lecture, which is going to be soon. Water, common water in laboratories. We need to ensure that our infrastructure works. Telecommunication, intercom, that saves us a lot. Then the issue of the big data, we need to be able to interact with the cloud, especially our library, our retrievers, our archival and retrieval system, our registry, everything. We need to save our information in the cloud so that the issue of computer crashing, memory crashing, everything will not affect us. Once we have saved everything in the cloud, it's saved in the cloud. And we can retrieve it at any time. Then digitization of registry operations. Mrs. Fagby has spoken extensively on that. I won't want to repeat what some of the things she has told us. Then the digital library. You need to, many of our universities are already moving in that direction, and we are not having much problem with that. Computerization of bursary operations. This is going to reduce fraud. Thank God for TSA. Thank God for so many things that are happening, that a single account. These ones give minimum opportunity for anybody to tinker with the funds of the university. So this is good. Then our computer resource centers are the managers of our websites. They need to be skilled, highly skilled in terms of managing we need a good webmaster. We need to make the website dynamic, because it has to be changing and responding to changes almost on per hour basis. Then we have another set of requirements, which I call the third set of requirements. The mode of teaching under the new normal is such that we don't need to be handing out teachers handing down information and knowledge to the students, and the students throwing back the same information and knowledge back to the lecturers. This is not the way to go in the present as well as in the future. We need to overhaul our courses and their contents in such a way that a lot of emphasis need to be given to creativity and innovation. The current trend in the world today is that students need to be creative and to be innovative, not to cram. Everything you require in terms of knowledge is available on the internet through the Google. You can Google and get any information you need. The lecturer is not supposed to help Google to teach. No, the lecturer is supposed to open the students' brains to be able to do stuff on their own. So, and that's why many of our graduates cannot find employment, because number one, they are not problem solvers. We need to produce problem solvers as graduates, and they are supposed to look at the society and pick a problem and provide the solution to it. And through that, they become entrepreneurial. Through that, they can make money. Through that, they can give back to the university system, to their alma mater. So it's important to train our graduates to be entrepreneurial rather than to be people who will cram stuff and give it back to us during examination. In the registry, there is need to professionalize our administration. Our administrators in the registry need to become more professional in the way to do their job. We need to move away from paper to paperless administration. Everybody needs to be able to access memos, reports, everything on the computer. Everybody needs to be ICT compliant. Everybody needs to, even ordinary phone can serve as a computer if you know how to use it properly. Many of us don't know how to access. There is Word on the phone. There is even PowerPoint on the phone. So all these apps are available on the phone. You can even store some of your stuff on the cloud from your phone. You can store some files on the phone so that when you lose your phone, you just get a new phone and all those information will come back to your phone. So we need to reduce bureaucracy because there is too much bureaucracy in the system. Let me give you my experience. I work for some international organizations, and when they want to when I'm applying for my payment, I do it from my study in my house. Even the entire work, I did it from my study. They approve payment from my study. I sent in all the receipts from my study. They approve payment. I got alert in my study. Or everything on my phone. Many times I have challenges with the modems. So what I use is I just finish the work on my laptop, attach it to my phone, store it on my phone, and from my phone it goes to the email as an attachment. So these are the kind of things everybody needs to understand. And then the last aspect I want to talk about here is the Internet of Things. The way things are going now, we are not going to be doing things is what we call new normal or business unusual. It is business unusual now. Internet of Things is the development whereby most of the things we have, your driver's license, your voter's card, your international passport, everything will just be on one single card. And then that card is what you use to enter your office. Is that card that you use to unlock your car? They are sensor driven. Even mere facial recognition. Many of us now, we open our phones with our thumb. With your thumb, you will open doors of your car. With your thumb, and that is the Internet of Things. That's where we are now, and that's where we are going. Increasingly, you don't need to, we will not be requiring too many cards, ATM card, you have ATM card, you have driver's license card, you have voter's card. No, just a single card will do everything for you. And that is why everybody needs to be computer literate and ICT compliant. So what are the new realities in our university education? One, there is going to be less emphasis on face-to-face learning. It's going to be more interactive and less knowledge handout. Everything you need about knowledge is available on Google. So I don't need to go to a university if that is what I'm going there for. Everything is available on YouTube. How to do everything, even to prepare egusi and egusi soup or ogbono soup, everything is on YouTube. So you discover that there is hardly nothing you want that the computer will not give you. So what are the new realities now? We need to put more emphasis on creativity, innovation, and imagination. We need to just broaden the mind of our students. Train them, serve as facilitators to lead them onto the road of being creative and being imaginative in the way they pursue knowledge. Then, bricks and mortars are becoming less relevant in education now. Bricks and mortars, classrooms are no longer necessary. 1,000-seater lecture theater may not, because by the time you do physical distancing, that 1,000 lecture theater can only sit 400. And even our 1,000 lecture theaters are not enough to accommodate our students. So we are discovering that virtual and distance learning is gaining traction. I was at UNISA, University of South Africa. They was able to put the university. They had 800,000 students. 800,000 students. That's almost more than the entire population of Nigeria undergraduate. So, and this affects the university's negative. This university in India, they have 1.5 million students. So many students also need to have the issue of access, vision, and mission for each university that is modernized and futuristic in nature. A university without the proper vision and without a mission cannot.
So the important courses are becoming obsolete. Let me give you a good example. Medicine will soon become an unattractive course. Medicine will soon become an attractive course because IBM Watson will do diagnosis for you and will recommend drugs for you.
The milestones.
Law will soon become obsolete too. People will not be taking laws again. The most important courses now and the direction we are going
in Nigeria
is artificial intelligence, which is becoming increasingly relevant, and robotics. You find, especially in the area of robotics and engineering, they are the courses of the future that will move the country forward, and we need to focus on them. And this is the second set of realities that we need to educate students with tools to confront and solve societal problems. Societal problems, both of the present and the future. Knowledge without limits. Boundaries between disciplines are collapsing at a fast rate.
Or you can
broad and general. Maybe 2 years. In the first 2 years, allow students to think outside the box. Thereafter, students can become specialists within specific disciplines in a problem-solving manner.
Like just
now,
as I said earlier on,
next one,
we have serious challenge with the governance.
We need to form new partnerships,
and instead of being
international,
some of them are
universities through MOUs and research grants. There is a lot of research grants outside the borders of Nigeria because we don't have a lot of emphasis on research grants. But when you partner with universities in China, in the US, in Europe, they have
to destabilize the system.
Research
because they don't like
over there, and we can
for whatever
also contact them and make good money from them. Then exchange of students and faculty members is also another way of leveraging on these partnerships and getting to be current and modern in our knowledge context. Commercialization of generated knowledge, intellectual properties, and patents are also areas where this partnership can help us. There is need for public-private partnership with organized private sectors. They should refer their problems to the universities, and the university must show capacity to solve those problems. Then, many moments, public partnership is also a possible way. We are government at state cannot make the required or federal level will refer some of their problems. I remember when I was vice chancellor, FUTA was helping the Nigerian Air Force to maintain some of their aircrafts. Hitherto, they were getting expatriates to come from abroad to help them maintain their aircraft. But we set up a team that was doing that, and in the process for them. Now, outsourcing of both resources and services. Universities need to focus on their core business to describe this, because research, I'm not saying they are sourced so that they can concentrate on their main mandate. So the end products that we are talking about, to be careful, is going to be a reduction in cost of operation of universities under the new normal. Post-COVID era is going to be save the university a lot of money. Technically skilled and relevant graduates are going to be the products that we are going to get. More cutting-edge research results and products, because some money will be saved, which can be diverted to research. And it's not higher contributions to economic growth by the university system. This is one of the results that I see. There is lower cost to students as they can stay back at home. This management team for their own system, so they don't need to take accommodation around the university where they pay a lot of money to be able to attend lectures. Then the increased access to university education, because this process now will allow us the opportunity to expand the access to many people who otherwise would not have been able to gain admission to the university. Reduction of graduate unemployment, because the graduates will become more entrepreneurial and they can achieve themselves. More imaginative and creative graduates, not just certificate holders within any university system. In terms of conclusion, COVID-19 has come to stay because of it's not showing any sign of leaving anytime soon. Too much details on that. The new normal mode of education delivery will also remain even when this pandemic goes away. We will not go back to the old ways of doing business. The drive to
online and open access education has been quickened with this pandemic at a fast rate. Registry will reduce bureaucracy, become better disciplined, as lateness will become a non-issue under working from home model that we've been having now. Cost of operation, both for the universities, for the staff, and for the students, will go down as a win-win of working from home. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my humble presentation, and I hope it's been opened. I've tried to open our eyes to the new ways in which we need to start thinking in this century. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Prof, for feeding us with knowledge this afternoon. I've been richly blessed and I've been thoroughly educated. We are sorry when Prof was speaking, we tried to do one or two things. There are people who couldn't enter into this Zoom, and we have extended to YouTube, and the link has been displayed. So if you have a friend who is out and couldn't come in, please, the link has been sent to all of them as long as they register for. And as Professor Damada was, people were hearing him loud and clear on YouTube, even those who are not here. So it's like Prof concluded, it was a win-win situation. And so shall it be until the end of this program. Just a recap of what Prof delivered. It is difficult for me to be reviewing what the professor has said. I just want to highlight. Prof reviewed the current situation as our situations have been affected by COVID-19. He looked at the effect on the economy, effect on education, and particularly university system, and he tried to compare the Nigerian situation with the situation in Europe, North America, and some other developed countries. And he tried to also compare Nigeria with Nigeria. In this case, he said that there was a seamless transition. When COVID came and there was lockdown, school system did not, particularly university system, did not shake in some of these locations because they already had the infrastructure. They just moved from face-to-face interaction to online teaching, assignments, and examination went on normally. I believe strongly that lockdown shouldn't have affected, even in Nigeria, the defense, the PhD defense, because as we are looking at ourselves now, nothing stops for somebody from the staying in Akure and defending a PhD in University of Lagos without having to move there. It shouldn't be possible. Prof compared what is happening in the private university system in Nigeria with what is happening in the public university. And he mentioned Covenant University, where I understand they are using Moodle to teach. And there is a university in Edo State, Edo University in Yamo, they are using Canvas. Mountain Top University is using Google Classroom. Incidentally, law school is performing better than the Nigerian university system. Law school is also a public institution. They have been teaching their 5,000 students in the last 5 months, and there was no shaking. So Prof tried to do the comparison and look at it. He went ahead to look at requirements of 21st century. He talked about governance, structure, strategic plan, and teaching and learning content. He also spoke about collegiality, management, dean, student union, staff union, and all of that. He particularly mentioned that for our university to key into requirement of 21st century, the quality of people in council is very important. And he particularly recommended that council should be somebody who is knowledgeable what happens in the university. And he said that a 21st century university must be digital. First, learning, according to him, is obsolete. We need to move to digital. And the digital has to go on of a library, digital library, digital. And it talks about Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and they said data is now old-fashioned. According to him, there are universities in the world now that have over 1 million students, and in fact, a particular course could have the university premises. So these students, because and in fact, the teachers may not even be resident in your university. So that is the way to go, and we call it a massive open online courses. He talked about employability of Nigerian students. That what lecturers are teaching today, including himself, is that they are 20th century ideas, which when the student capture this, it will not make them marketable in the industry, where the industry is a market, is a 21st century compliant. Anybody who's going to work for Jumia, Amazon, and all of that cannot be, if the only knowledge is the note that your lecturer copied 20 years ago and is reading, that will not work. And it's even professor medicine law may no longer have the attention in the future because robots now can diagnose, and even you are aware now that there is a way of doing temperature now by thermometer that will not touch your body, and so it is that you can diagnose what is inside of us. Finally, Prof recommended that Nigerian universities they need to reset. Maybe he wanted to say they should reboot or reformat. And that means we have to do away with so many things. And we must focus on the mandate of teaching and learning, teaching, research, teaching, and community services. The Vice Chancellor are struggling with many things that shouldn't be of concern to university: security, cleaning services, maintenance of loans, buying of diesel, all of those things are distracting our managers. And his recommendation is that if we go online, we may not need a small generator might be enough because we are not putting people in classroom. And don't forget, people will be, the university will not be poor. Our universities are poor today because we are not leveraging on the population. We have 200 million Nigerians. What's stopping us from having 2.5 million students, and ABU having 3 million students? All of them, they live in their homes and in their offices, and they pay good
invite two speakers. First, Mrs. Faluyi, to make our own comments with regards to the questions, and then later Professor B. Daramala, very briefly, then before I also add my own view with regards to the questions. Mrs. Faluyi first.
Thank you, sir. For some of the questions, unfortunately, I didn't get some, but what I know is that some has to do with the infrastructure.
Yes.
Saying that for us to go digital, for us to be ICT compliant, we also have problems with the enabling environment. As we have said that...
And the question is displayed on the screen? Please, can you display the question on the screen?
Well, I have a little difficulty with that. I can restate the questions. There is a particular attention on if we all change to virtual working system. As administrator, will that not affect mentorship aspect of our calling? The way Chief Adegbite imparted on us. If we don't meet Adegbite now physically, it is just online. The way professors who supervise PhD students interact with them on a daily basis and give them dedicated assignments to them, and they rub minds here and there. With that, not with virtual learning, not affect mentorship. So the other one is that can't we continue to do what we are doing now until we have good internet, power, and all of that, so that we remain where we are now, so that we just tell the whole world that we are coming behind. So, so maybe we do maybe advertisement on television that the world to wait for us because we are falling. So I think that should be the summary of the question they're asking us.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. In fact, from the way you have analyzed the question, you have virtually answered it, that we will be left behind. If we say that we want to continue to do it the way, because we have challenges, then we will never be at par with the world. So the answer to that question is that we must continue to change. We must accept that change and work within the ambit of whatever resources is available to us until we are able to get to that level where we ought to be. Else, the world will put us aside. So that has answered that question, that we cannot remain complacent and say that because some challenges are there, we will not move with the world. So in the face of the dwindling resources, in the face of lack of the infrastructures and utilities to work with, we still have to make something out of it. And especially as university administrators, we are expected to think out of the box and use what we have to get what we want. Thank you very much on that. And also talking about mentoring, I will talk on, there's still an interactive way of to it. The virtual way of teaching or virtual way of having meetings does not mean that you are not interacting. You are still interacting, and the level at which we mentor to is at that level. You ask your questions. You don't have to see the person physically before you give advice or you give counsel. So it does not stop mentoring and it does not stop mentorship. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Prof.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Please, Prof, let me add a question so that you can take it together. Sir.
Okay.
Now, in Ado-Ekiti, where I live, government has asked the churches to make preparation for resumption of church services. My church in particular, we have made provision for our people who wash their hands and all of that. Now, what are the, I believe private universities have also done that. What are the public universities doing to be able to say, suppose they say that it's going to be open next month or next week? What are they putting in place in terms of the digital and in terms of health of their staff so that we can key into it? If we cannot even solve the digital, how can we make sure that our staff are safe? So please, Prof, maybe you can add that to that. Because
thank you very much.
I'm not in my yet, but I don't see that happening.
Thank you, Mr.
Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. That last question should be directed at the chairman because he is the current man in the seat. I'm no longer a vice chancellor. I'm no longer a vice chancellor. So I don't need to bother my head about that. I leave that for the chairman to address. But now to the other questions, because I took some notes when you were reading out the questions. I want to say that I don't think the new normal way of doing things is going to affect mentorship at all, because don't forget that we have video apps like WhatsApp. Okay, if there is an admin officer too that is fresh in the system and is put under a principal assistant registrar, I don't think that mentorship is going to be affected, because nothing stops the two of them from meeting. It's not that people cannot meet face to face. There's no rule that says that. All the rule says is that gathering now should involve physical distancing. So I don't think a subordinate would still not have the opportunity of meeting